Welcome back. Oxfam has warned that the hunger virus has become more fatal than the coronavirus. In a new report, it says 11 people are likely dying every minute from hunger. That's now outpacing COVID-19 fatalities. We're joined by Fundiswa Ndlela, Oxfam's South Africa's Rural Transformation Program Officer. Ms. Ndlela, thank you for being with us. Take us through the numbers of this hunger pandemic globally, and then, of course, it's affecting South Africa.
And good evening to your viewers. Thank you for having me. That is correct. Our report reveals that as many as 11 people per minute are dying, likely from hunger, fueled by COVID-19, by climate change and conflict. Hunger is outpacing the virus. We estimate that 155 million people are in a hunger crisis. And if I may add, people are not starving. They are being starved by conflict, by food aid cuts, the spiraling food price inflation, and the ever-growing inequality.
Well, I see this report looks at military spending, so focusing on conflict there, which I think is a major driver. And you talk about the fact that military spending could stop people starving if that money rather went to poverty alleviation many times over.
That is correct. That is correct, Francis. In poverty-stricken nations such as your Yemen, such as your Ethiopia and South Sudan, people are experiencing famine-like living conditions. This is a direct result of conflict, and we have seen governments continuing to be warring with one another. Yet people are starving every single day. As we speak, there are people dying from hunger.
What is the impact? So is conflict big here? What is the impact of lockdown regulations when businesses close, when people can't earn a living, when it has knock-on effects? If the impact is big, then it would be like shooting yourself in the foot. You try and save people's lives, but you lose more in the end.
I mean, Francis, if we look at the current riots, the hunger and the food riots that we have seen breaking out in many places, people are tired of being locked down to starve without detailed socio-economic relief measures, whilst government officials continue to loot millions, from government without any consequence management whatsoever. And this has been a finding by the Auditor General in the report that has recently published, that there is a lack of consequence management. And we have also seen a rise in the unemployment statistics of South Africa. They are sitting at an all-time high of 32.6%. And South Africa continues to be the highest unequal country in the world.
So what is the situation with starvation in South Africa? How many people are that malnourished that they're actually dying of hunger?
I mean, the stats, if we look at the stats, the statistics, provincially, 1 in 3 people in the Eastern Cape are dying from hunger. But to add to that, particularly in the poorest district municipalities, where you will find, for example, the municipality of Ntabankulu, we are experiencing high malnutrition levels, particularly in infants and children. 84% of people in Ntabankulu municipality are living below the poverty line.
Sure, 84%. What does that tell? Well, firstly, I mean, it must be feeding into the protest situation that we're seeing right now.
Definitely, Francis, like I have already said, that people are tired of being locked down, without any socio-economic relief measures, whatsoever. People are being laid off, people are being retrenched. It's just spiraling to the socio-economic challenges that our country is faced with. But I think this also calls, it calls for basic income grant. It has reached that moment that government really needs to focus, on urgent funding when it comes to food aid programs, social protection drives, such as your basic income grant.
Yeah. Well, finally, I mean, what does this mean for policy? And let's be very specific. South Africa says it doesn't have money for a basic income grant. Many people believe we will get there and we'll have to at some point. But in the interim, given the risk of more people dying from poverty, should we even be locking down? What do you do in the midst of a health crisis? It's very difficult.
It's very difficult, Francis, because, you are talking about people's daily lives. You are talking about hundreds of South Africans, who are feeding their families. Their livelihoods depend on this. And, and so do, their families. So we are in a very, very tricky, difficult situation. But I believe that, government actually needs to revisit some of the economic policies that they currently have, such as, advocate, such as, some of the interventions. Civil society has long been organizing and calling for a basic income grant. These are some of the measures that could actually answer some of the challenges that the country is grappling with, particularly with the high unemployment rate in young people of this country.
All right, thank you very much, Fundiswa Ndlela, Oxfam South Africa's Rural Transformation Program Advisor. Now, the Gauteng